Hey folks, Rich here at RCINFORMER. Today I have just a really sweet airplane to show you from LX Models and Banana Hobbies. This is the F-4 Phantom II. It is painted up in this beautiful VF-84 Jolly Rogers paint job with the skull and crossbones on the tail. It's just such an iconic looking airplane from the 60s and 70s era. And this airplane from LX and Banana Hobbies is really just such a well-built airplane, and it actually flies fantastic too. It's all made out of EPO foam, and it's just super rugged. The paint is really nice. LX Models has gone a long way with their paint, and this is a very durable finish on this thing, and it comes pretty much just the way you see it. Now, again, the airplane's all made out of EPO foam. Driving this thing are two 70mm fans with two 2100 kV brushless outrunners, two 50 amp speed controllers, and a separate 5 amp BEC, and that drives all of the 8 servos that are pre-installed in this thing. It runs on 6-cell. I'm running a 5000 Genesis 6-cell pack in here, 65C pack. And it really powers the plane for quite some time. You get actually like 3 to 4.5 minutes, sometimes upwards of 5 actually, because the fans are actually pretty efficient. Now basically it's a 6-channel airplane. It has elevator control with full flying tails, flying stabs, aileron control, rudder and nose wheel steering, flaps and working slats on the entire airplane, and it actually also has wheel brakes. The wheel brakes do use electric wheel brakes. They do use a 7th channel on the airplane. If you want to separate your nose wheel steering and your rudder, that will take an 8th channel to do. I have mine just rigged together with a Y harness, so I'm running it as a 7-channel airplane. Now I'm going to show you, give you a closer look of a lot of the features here, guys. I'm going to go ahead and take the canopy off for you with this little kind of tether that they leave right on here for you. And there's an access hatch right here. And all this stuff is really kind of just engineered nicely right at the factory. It goes on and off easily without really needing to add anything to it. And I've been flying it like this, and it works quite well. Rare earth magnets hold this separate hatch in. I'll go ahead and lift this up so Ron can get a much better look here inside. You can see the battery compartment right here with straps already installed. Lots of space up front here for weight, flight stabilizers, really anything that you want to put in there, and there's a lot of space to move your battery forward and back to get your CG right. Right here on the electronics bay, Ron's going to zoom in here. You've got your receiver right here. I ran my antennas, one right here, so they're 90 degrees to each other. It really helps avoid any kind of signal loss. Also down in here is a landing gear controller board. There's also a brake controller board. And you can see that the BEC is right here. Now, one thing I did do with mine is I removed the factory BEC and I put a Castle BEC right in here and just Velcroed it in. Check out the build guide and the setup guide, and it'll show you all that kind of stuff. But it's very nice access, as you can see, to everything in here, and everything fits on real nice. It's a very good fit from the factory. Now I'm going to go ahead and flip it upside down, and Ron's going to zoom in on this thing. And what I did is I put a few of the missiles on here for you just to show you. There's 2 drop tanks on this airplane. 4 of these, I believe they're Sparrow missiles that fit on the fuselage. And then 2 of these other missiles, and you can see right here, they actually just snap into place nicely. To get them off, you have to put a little screwdriver in there to pull them out, but it's nice because the missiles do come on and off relatively easy, with the exception of these 4 here, which you either have to glue on or leave off. The underside of the airplane, there's a lot of stuff to show you here. Right here is the access hatch, okay, for the ESCs, just 2 screws and you get those off. Right here is the access hatch for the fans. A couple screws here, a couple screws on the side, and then actually the wing does have to separate to get in there, but you can gain access to the fans via that route. Now overall, guys, the landing gear on this airplane is pretty awesome. I'm gonna see if Ron can focus here on the nose strut here. Really nice steering arms and rods that function real nicely. All aluminum suspension everywhere around with, as you can see, nice compression wheels. All the wheels are ball bearing supported, everybody. So it's just very nice how they set this whole thing up. I'm going to go ahead and have Ron zoom in on all the gear. Just kind of zoom out, show all the landing gear on everything. You can see here the main struts also. Really nice suspension, all metal, all aluminum struts. They take about 10 seconds to cycle, and I'm going to go ahead and cycle them for you here and let you see how they cycle up. All right, just really nice and smooth, a real nice scale speed. Takes them about 10 seconds to fully extend, 10 seconds to fully retract, and that's just something to keep in mind as you're landing. You give them a good 10 seconds to come down. I'll go ahead and extend them. And just some super nice gear. It's a very wide stance landing gear, side to side, front to back. And it's just real easy ground handling, taking off and landing on this airplane. Also, wheel brakes as well. You can see again all the wheels are ball bearing supported. I'm going to have Ron zoom in on this wheel right here if he can do it. I'm going to go ahead and spin this and activate the brakes. You can see as you flip the switch, they just stop. Now it doesn't stop the airplane that abruptly, but it does decelerate the airplane, and you can adjust the deceleration rate of it. That's all in the build guide, so check that out, and I'll show you how to set that thing up. And last but not least is the slats. Now I'm gonna have Ron kind of zoom in on this wing here. You can see the flaps here fully retracted, and the flaps and slats fully retracted. And as I extend them, they come out fully extended. And you can see they actually work quite well. They do provide quite a bit extra lift for the airplane, so the plane actually fly at a much slower speed for takeoff and landing. There have been complaints about how to set these up, lots of play in them and so forth, but never fear. I got the build guide. It's either out already or will be coming out. Just check for that on the RCINFORMER YouTube channel, and I'm going to show you some tips and techniques to get those things all set up. And once you get those things set up and working and all the bugs out of them, the flaps and slats are just so nice. They really help this airplane fly well. Now assembling this airplane, guys, is very simple. You can actually see your wing joints right here. There's a spar that plugs in here, right here through the middle, but the wings come pretty much built as you see them. You just slide your wings on and attach these 4 screws to get your wings on, and that's it. Your nose cone glues on. Your whole tail fin section just glues on right here. Your tail cones, your nozzles here, they glue on, and your tail fins and your rudder literally just screw into place. So it's a very easy airplane to build. It assembles very simply. The only things, again, I'm going to mention really are the slats and adjusting the gear. And again, check out the build guide, and I'm going to show you guys how to set that up. All in all, this is just a stellar airplane to build and fly. And with that being said, guys, let's get this thing out to the runway, and I'm going to give you a flight demo of the LX Models F-4 Phantom II from Banana Hobby. All right, guys, I'm taxiing the Phantom out here at Markham Park here in Miami. I'm extending the slats for takeoff. This thing is simply awesome on the runway. It's just very stable. I'll check out the control surfaces, make sure everything's working okay. Quick brake check here. It looks like they're working fine. We'll go ahead and we'll take this out for takeoff. This is a real nice, stable, scale flying model. It's a lot of fun to fly, probably intermediate, more like advanced flyer for this thing. Lined up on the center line, here we go. Gears coming up, flaps are coming up. A little bit of crosswind here, guys. You can see it kicking the airplane over. And I'll give you a fast pass here, guys, right down the runway. Full throttle. Simply awesome, guys. Pull it around for a half Cuban 8. Just an awesome jet, guys. Just reminds you of the Vietnam War era. All right, we'll bring it down the center line again here. Give you all an inverted pass. This plane will let you do it quite well. Nice and smooth. All right, we'll bring it back here into the middle. Get it close to the camera. Pull it out. Just an awesome jet, guys. I'm going to go ahead and bring it here into the middle, give you some steep turns. Right out front here. I have the throttle at full most of the time, but you do want to back it off, get the speed controllers a little bit of a break. We can see how nice this thing flies. Just an awesome jet. Pull the power back here, give it a little bit of a break here. We'll go up for a loop here. You got to pull pretty aggressively on the loop, or you will run out of elevator pretty quick. So it does tend to stall out a little. You just want to be careful with that. Give you a high-speed pass, right to left now. Just fun. Fast, fast, fast. Probably 90 to 100 miles an hour. I'm going to go ahead and extend full flaps and full slats. We'll come down the runway here relatively slow. We'll kind of slow it down, about half throttle down the runway. Slats are working nice. They're coming up. Just a really fun airplane, guys. You want to fly this very scale-like, and you'll do well with it. One more pass by the camera here, and we'll bring it on in. We'll get it up to pattern altitude here. Flaps and slats are coming in. You definitely want to slow it down a little bit before you bring it in, before you put the flaps and gear down. And we'll line it up here. And here we go. We get it right on the runway here. A little windy here, guys, with a crosswind here. Smoothing it out, smoothing it out. There we go. Nice touchdown. Let it slow down on its own a little bit. The brakes can heat up, so you really quickly. So you want to wait till it gets kind of slow before you hit the brakes, and you can see it comes to a, slows it down and comes to a stop. Go ahead and taxi it on back here. And we got other flyers here, guys, so there's a lot of noise out here. I'm doing the best I can here with it. I'll hit the brakes here and slow it on down. Anyway, guys, the LX models, F-4 Phantom II from Banana Hobby. Real nice airplane. All right, guys, that pretty much concludes this video on the F-4 Phantom II from LX Models and Banana Hobbies. As you saw from the flying video, it's just such a nice flying airplane. I would say the first time I flew it, it seemed more challenging because it is a scale flying model. But as I flew it a few times and flew it more and more, it became more and more fun to fly. It's very graceful. It doesn't do anything real aggressive unless you're really pulling on the controls. But as you can see, it'll roll over nice. It'll fly inverted nice. It'll do a nice round loop. As you pull the loop, you have to pull pretty progressively, pretty hard at the beginning of the loop. If you don't, it tends to go up, and then the elevator tends to stall out, and you run out of elevator control, and then the airplane just kind of hangs up there. So you do want to, when you enter a loop, enter it with some good speed and pull pretty progressively and pretty strong at the beginning end of the loop and get it to go around the top relatively quick. Then you'll have plenty of speed with the gravity and everything kind of pulling you around. Overall, what a nice flying airplane. I'm going to show you again here. I'm going to have Ron zoom in here on the flaps and the slats and how those are functioning. I have mine set up working real nice. There they are, full extension. But check out the building guide, because I'm going to show you how to get the slop out of it and get it to work right. They're really great once you get them to work right, and they actually really do help the airplane take off slowly. The plane lifts right off the ground, and it helps the plane come in at a much slower speed. So the slats and the flaps are really quite functional on this airplane, and they're just very neat. Now I'm going to show you something here on the radio, and I do mention this in the building and setup guide. But I attached my servo, or my flaps and slats, on a 3-position switch like I usually do with flaps and slats and that kind of thing. But I operate it a little bit differently on this airplane. And the way that I do it is I have 3 positions, but the middle position I use as just sort of a rest area. When I'm taxiing the airplane out, I leave it in the middle position just so the servos are not stalled out, because it's relatively mechanically complex the way that the servos are hooked up to the flaps and slats. So the way I have it set up, and the only way I could really get it to work well, is at fully retracted, the servos kind of stall out a little bit, so you can hear them buzzing just a little bit. But you're only flying for about 3 or 4 minutes, and there's lots of airflow over those servos. So flying it that way is not a problem. When you come in for landing, I go full extension on them. The servos do stall out again. You hear them buzzing just a little bit, but you're only going to be landing in a minute or 30 seconds anyway. And then after my landing, I put my servo switch back to the neutral position to give the servos a break, okay, and stall, let them not be stalled out and cool down. So really, in essence, when I'm flying the airplane, I have flaps and slats up, and I have flaps and slats down. I don't have an intermediate setting. I don't have any slow feature designed into them. And that's only because of the way that there is a lot of mechanical complexity to how it's set up. And it was really tough to set it up without having the flaps fully retracted or fully extended without having the servo stalled out. So anyway, guys, just in summary, check out the building guide. I'm going to show you really how to set up the flaps and slats so they work well for you. Overall, this is a phenomenal airplane. Relatively inexpensive, in the $200 to $300 range for a twin 70mm EDF jet that does around 100 miles an hour with flaps, slats, retractable gear, brakes. Just really one impressive model. Anyway, guys, check this out at Banana Hobby, bananahobby.com. Once again, thanks for checking out this video. Thanks for checking out RC Informer, and as always, we'll see you next time.